cornbread, we're going to start with 1 cup of cornmeal. I use a fine cornmeal, more close to corn flour. And then we're going to add 1 cup of flour. And our next thing we're going to add is our leavening agent. So we're going to add 1 teaspoon of baking powder. And then we're also going to add 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda. And we're also going to add some seasoning. So we're going to add 1/4 teaspoon of table salt. We're going to whisk that together to mix our dry ingredients, get that nice and mixed well, and then we're just going to set that aside. So I have all my ingredients already measured out here. So we're going to take 1 cup of milk and we're going to add a 1/2 cup of oil into the liquid measure with the milk to save dirtying dishes. So we're just going to use that to mix it. We're going to add in 2 eggs and a 1/2 cup of sugar into that to create our wet ingredients. Make sure you mix that really well. And then you have your wet and dry ingredients. So we're going to take our dry ingredients and we're just mix the wet into that. And again, my tool of choice here is a whisk, and I'm going to use a rubber spatula to get the excess stuff out of the liquid measure. Whisk that really well. Should look really consistency of pancake batter, just like that. And we are basically set. So I'm going to add about a tablespoon of butter into a hot cast iron pan. You can use any pan you want for this, but I like to use a hot cast iron pan. It really gives that nice golden brown cornbread buttery taste. So once that pan is hot, I'm going to add my batter. You should hear a sizzling sound. You pour that batter in. That means your pan is hot enough. Again, rubber spatula, scrape that bowl down, get all that cornbread out of there and into the pan. Then you're ready to bake. Careful, that pan is probably going to be hot since you've been heating it up. So we're going to take that pan of cornbread. We're going to bake it at a high temperature, 425 for 15-25 minutes. This took me about 20 minutes. I opened the oven a couple times. So it's nice and hot. As soon as it comes out of the oven, we want to get some butter on there. About another tablespoon. Spread around. If you use salted butter for this, that's great. Or you can just add salt afterwards, which is what I'm going to do. We're also going to add a good portion of honey. No need to measure. Just throw it on there. Yes, that looks great. We're going to spread that honey all around, and then we're going to sprinkle salt on top. But you want to make sure you don't use table salt to sprinkle on top. It will make it too salty. You want to use sea salt or kosher salt or a heavier crystal salt. And that's it. You're pretty much done there. I like to portion it like I'm cutting a pizza, and it looks good. Cornbread.